Hello and welcome once again. Today, we're diving into a story that's more than just headlines or gossip. It's a journey through emotion, memory, and what it means to truly feel something lasting in a world that moves faster than ever. At the center of this story are two beloved figures, Ellen Songu and Bahar Ardu, names that, when spoken, immediately bring a flood of memories for fans not only in Turkey but across the globe. These are not just actors. They are storytellers, dream weavers, people who gave voice and soul to characters that millions fell in love with. But beyond the characters, beyond the scripts and the cameras, there's something else. Something that still lingers in the air, even years later. Recently, Ellen Songu said something that stopped many in their tracks. In an industry that thrives on moving on image and reinvention, she paused and looked back. "I am still waiting for my first love," she said, not as a dramatic statement, not as part of a marketing campaign, just as truth. And in that one sentence, she opened a door into a more vulnerable, private version of herself. A version we rarely get to see in public figures. And for those who followed her journey, from her early days to her rise as one of Turkey's most respected actresses, this was a moment that felt both intimate and incredibly brave. Who was she talking about? The question circled quickly, like whispers in a crowded room. For many, the answer felt obvious: Bahar Ardu. Their history on screen is legendary. Their roles in Kirik Ak weren't just a success. They became a cultural phenomenon. The chemistry between them was undeniable. Fans didn't just watch them, they felt them. But what made it even more compelling was the quietness of what happened off-screen. Neither ever fully confirmed a relationship. There were no tabloid photos of them vacationing together, no scandal, no official statements. Just looks, body language, subtle exchanges. Enough to make you wonder, but never enough to be sure. It was this uncertainty that gave their bond a kind of mythical quality. It became the what-if that lives in every great love story. The idea that maybe, just maybe, what we saw on screen wasn't acting at all but something real. And now, years later, Ellen's words reignited that flame. Not just in fans, but in anyone who's ever looked back at a love that never quite faded. Because that's what first love does. It stays with you, not always in the forefront, not always painful, but quietly, patiently. Like a song you once loved that still makes your chest tighten when you hear it again. Like a smell, a street, a moment in time. And for Ellen, it seems, that feeling has never truly left. What makes her confession so powerful isn't just the content but the context. She's a successful woman, a celebrated artist, someone who doesn't need to share these things. Yet she did. Not for attention, not to stir up the past, but maybe just because sometimes you have to speak a truth to free yourself from it. Her openness sparked something bigger. On social media, the conversation grew. People from all backgrounds shared their own stories of unresolved emotions, of love that never quite found closure. The hashtag first love never fades trended for days. And in the midst of it all was Bahar, silent, composed, always respectful. He didn't respond publicly, but perhaps he didn't need to. Sometimes silence speaks volumes. Sometimes the loudest response is the one that comes through old interviews, where his eyes would soften when her name came up, through the projects they once shared, through the pauses in his answers, and the warmth in his voice when he mentioned her. There's a certain elegance to a love that doesn't need validation, that exists in memory, in mutual understanding, and in the spaces between words. And it's not just about romance, it's about timing, about growth, about all the versions of ourselves we become over time. Ellen and Bahar, whether they were ever officially together or not, clearly shared something meaningful, something that left a mark. And isn't that what we all hope for in the end? Not a perfect fairy tale, but something real, something that teaches us, something that stays. For Ellen, it's clear that this first love was more than a passing feeling. It was foundational. It helped shape her not just as a woman, but as an artist. You can see it in her performances. There's a weight, a truth in her eyes that you can't fake. That kind of emotional depth doesn't come from training, it comes from having felt deeply. And that's what makes her so beloved. She isn't just acting, she's channeling something authentic. And when she says she's still waiting for that first love, it doesn't sound like regret. It sounds like a recognition A gentle acceptance that some chapters remain open, even if we don't revisit them. What comes next for her? No one knows, and maybe that's part of the beauty. Because while fans are always curious, always hoping for a reunion, a rekindling, there's something just as powerful in simply honoring what was. In understanding that not all stories need a final scene. Some of the most meaningful moments in life don't come with a clear ending. They just are. And if that story included Bar, even if it was brief or unspoken, then perhaps that's enough. As for him, he continues to work, to grow, to evolve as an actor. But if you watch closely, you'll see too the same emotional texture in his performances, the same stillness, the same feeling that there's something beneath the surface. Maybe they left a mark on each other. Maybe they still carry it, quietly, respectfully. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about two celebrities. It's about the way people can connect in extraordinary ways. It's about timing, about truth, about the one that got away or maybe the one that was never truly meant to leave. And perhaps most of all, it's about the courage to remember, to say out loud, I haven't forgotten. Because in a world that moves fast, that tells us to get over it, there's something incredibly powerful about holding on to something beautiful, even if it's no longer present. Thank you so much for being here with me and listening to this story. If you felt something, if it brought back memories of your own, you're not alone. Let's keep telling real stories. Let's keep feeling, remembering, and honoring the things that shaped us. Until next time, take care and never be afraid to love, or to remember the love that once made you who you are.